Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. Let's head out to Jim's Firearms Hotline. Chat with our guy Sharief Ishaq from WDSU down in New Orleans. Saints OTAs today. Michael Thomas made an appearance. Sharief, is Michael Thomas going to the Pro Bowl this year?
We're not doing this again, are we?
Everyone seemed to be really excited about it. I saw a lot of tweets. He was out there. He was working with Derek Carr. It looked good.
It was light work with Derek Carr off to the side. He ran through the motions. He didn't really do anything with the team. I mean, they don't expect him, like he said after practice, he's expected to be back and fully ready to go by day one of training camp, just like last year. He's ready to go for day one of training camp. He's just out there, just talking to Derek Carr, talking to the receivers, just working on the mental reps and time on task with Derek, and that's all it is right now. We're not ready to go Hall of Fame just yet.
Okay, well, I'm curious as to how his demeanor was in the postgame. I realize what time of year it is. That generally leads itself to a pretty jovial group of people. I'm told all the SEC head football coaches at Destin last week were just chumming it up with everybody, having drinks, and that's just the nature of the summer in football. It's a low-stress time. But Michael Thomas has been a guy who's been frustrated at times. We don't know where he is at times. What can you gather from his general demeanor and answering questions from y'all?
It seemed like he's a little happier and a little bit more positive this year compared to last year. It seems like his rehab and everything is a little bit more on schedule this time around than it was last year. I mean, he felt happy. This is what he loves. This is what he wants to do. He wants to play. And he said, the front office, and he had a really good conversation and had a good, relationship throughout the entire process. Now, I mean, he said all the right things. Now, was that, did everyone think that he was really going to come back? Look, I came on your show 100 times saying it. His career with the black and gold is over. It's over for good. And he came back. I just think they found a way to work through it. Better to have him than not have him. They paid him all that money. And I just think once they got Derek Carr, I think he was bought in. He wanted to be back. There was a guy that, like, those two guys had a great conversation throughout the offseason. They kept talking and talking. Big reason why he's back is Derek Carr. He wants to play with a Pro Bowl type quarterback, and that can give him a chance to, be good like Drew Brees did. And I think that had a big reason why he stayed here in New Orleans. Now, what do we see from him when the season starts? Your guess is as good as anybody's guess, because he has to be healthy, the most important thing. And if he's healthy, maybe you get 10 to 12 games out of him. But you're never getting a 149 reception guy unless he proves every single person wrong after 3 years of injuries.
Yeah, look, I'll line up with you on that one. I don't expect him to set any NFL receiving records moving forward, but I do think he can be a functional part of the offense. Your thoughts on Derek Carr as he continues to kind of lead the charge out there?
The one thing that I like a lot about him is, like, the conversations that he continues to have on the field with all of his skill players after every single play. Whether if it's good or bad, they continue to build that chemistry. Now, like you said today, like, Chris Olave dropped the ball, picked it up, and threw it back to him, and he threw it back to Chris because, he knew he dropped the ball and he wanted to make things good again. That's the type of things that, that's a good building block for this team when you see the receivers and the quarterback on the same page. And that's what they have to continue to work on. And he's just a bright light, man. He really has been a bright light, a beacon of hope for this, offense whenever, these training, these OTA practices started. I mean, you can just see it. He has a big smile. He had a big smile on his face after Michael Thomas talked today. I mean, all smiles. I think, like, you can see the happiness that he's here in New Orleans and having a chance to work with, a good defense too, something that he really didn't have much in Las Vegas or Oakland. So I think they're, building that chemistry. And I think by the time, get the mandatory minicamp next week, it's what we're going to see once they get that long break and come back for training camp is when the fun really starts. But the building blocks are there, Hunt. They really are when it comes to Derek Carr and his receivers.
Derek Carr's brand new. Cam Jordan not brand new, but Mickey Loomis said last week that they would let Cam Jordan play there as long as he would, and after that they would put him in the Ring of Honor and he would be in the Hall of Fame. And I kind of discussed that on my show on yesterday. Do you think Cam Jordan is a Pro Football Hall of Famer?
Absolutely. Absolutely. A guy who's had a high motor, and he's done it throughout his entire career. I mean, he's only missed 2 games, one because of COVID and one because of an eye issue that he had, in which it could have knocked him out for the rest of the season and could have been a serious issue. But the guy plays through a lot of injuries, plays hurt all the time, and he's been productive even at his age. He's going to be 34 next month, and he's given his team everything. I mean, yeah, he's certainly a Pro Football Hall of Famer. There's no doubt. Whenever it's all said and done, he'll be in Canton, Ohio, and he just man, his career continued to trend upwards every single year. It continued to move up and up and up and up. I mean, he only had 8.5 last year, but the year before that, he had 15 and a half sacks. So could he have another double-digit sack season? I'm sure he will. If the rest of the defensive line can be productive. It was mostly him last year trying to do everything. So, yeah, it's easily a Hall of Famer, not just because we're friends, but because he's a really good football player.
Saw on Twitter that Brian Brzee was taking some first-team reps. Obviously, they're not going full bore here in OTAs, but what can you take from the Saints' first-rounder?
I mean, look, until you throw the pads on, it really isn't much you can say with the offensive defensive line, but that's at least a sign and a move in the right direction with your first round. That's what you want. You want him to take first-team reps. You don't want to draft somebody in the first round and him taking second and third-team reps, but it just seems like he's a little bit farther ahead than some of the guys they drafted in the past, like, Davenport and Peyton Turner. So I would say let's see what happens next month, but, it's a start in the right direction for me. And I truly do think, Hunt, that Brian Brzee is going to be a really good piece for that defensive line, and he's going to create havoc. It may not show up on the stat sheet, but I think some of the other guys will be for what he does.
Chatting with Sharief Ishaq from WDSU. I got one more question about Dennis Allen, but I want to open up before that and just say anything else that you have seen out there that I'm not asking about, clearly not being there, but what else has caught your eye?
I really like what Juwan Johnson has done. I mean, he closed out the season strong, and he's, brought it into this OTA. These OTAs, he's continuing to shine. And Chris Olave, another one. A lot of people we do like to our eyes, tend to gravitate towards the offense. You want to see what Derek does with the receivers, and Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, Juwan Johnson. Those guys continue to open up everyone's eyes, and that's the thing that I've really noticed the most. Also, there's a lot of defensive backs coaches. They got 3 different coaches coaching, cornerbacks and secondary players and safeties. That's a lot. You got a lot of hands-on going on with your defensive backs. We have 3 different groups of coaches working with them. So that's, some of the things that stand out. It's, once again, OTA practice. That isn't sexy. You're not going to see much, but that's some of the small things able to see in the window. We were able to watch practice. But today they did a little bit of red zone. It looked good, and a lot of balls didn't hit. No balls really hit the ground, and guys are catching passes. So trending in the right direction. I know it's just OTAs, but at least it's trending in a better direction than a year ago.
This is a really unfair question, but I'll ask it to you. Anything that you pick up from Dennis Allen, do you think that he feels a little bit of heat going into year 2? Professional coaches just get fired so quickly these days, especially in the NBA where the guys win championships and they're out the door 24 months later. Do you feel like that DA maybe feels that way, or no, he's a confident guy, they're going to go out there and win games this year?
I think this is, this year and next year are the years for him because, last year he was still kind of playing in Sean's, I guess, shadow a little bit because he still had a lot of his coaches and a lot of his players. But now he has his coaches. Now he has his players. I think if it isn't a little bit better, I think we might have a conversation. But I think he at least gets this season and next season. And but you have the pieces now. You almost feel like your division's so bad. You got a better team than most of the teams in your division. You have the quarterback. You have the defense. I mean, you almost have no excuses. But I don't see it unless it completely burns to the ground. They go 3-14 or 4-13. Then we might have that discussion. But I think he at least gets this year and next year, just to give himself, 2 years of Dennis Allen, now that he's removed from all the Sean Payton era.
All right, we shall see. Sharief Ishaq down in New Orleans covering Saints OTA. Sharief, we appreciate it. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.